Episode 3, boys. By the way,
Hi, Mom.
you forgot to say hi to her last time, didn't you?
Yeah, you both gave your moms a shout out, and
You didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
in trouble.
I asked my mom about the card the other day. She's like, "Oh, I'd have to dig it out." I go, "No, you don't. You have to give it to me." Well, it's mine. I go, "No, it's not. I'm the one who put it in the case." I'm like, "Where did you get the case?" Me. Like, you didn't go out and buy those, Mom. Just
right.
so.
She's going to make you think she went out and got them.
I know better. I absolutely know better. So, all right. I think we tried to. I don't want to say we tried to avoid this topic, but we didn't really talk about it because it would come up, kind of go away repeatedly, and then recently it's just kind of come up and stayed in the news. The Houston Astros.
Yeah.
I mean, more came out today, so I want to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, like you said, they're coming up with there's new articles, new headlines every single day. I'm sure everyone's aware, but if you're not, so the Astros have been accused of stealing signs, relaying them to their hitters through various means, electronic devices.
They tried to start their own Stomp the Yard.
Yeah, banging on trash cans for a curveball. There's rumors some of them were wearing electronic buzzers.
I don't have
things
a
of that
taser
nature.
for you, so
There's almost so many rumors that they're hard to keep track of at this point. But
The buzz. I mean, some of it's so far fetched to me when I kept hearing it.
yeah,
That's why I never really put opinion out there.
yeah,
But the more and more you hear, it's like I feel like today I actually for the first time got pissed, and I'm like, what a bunch of assholes.
Well, and you think seems so simple. Like, why aren't other teams doing? Well, of course, we don't know if other teams are doing it, but
yeah.
I mean, I assume if Astros and then obviously Red Sox are doing it, I assume other teams are trying to do something.
I assume all teams in the major leagues are cheating, if you will, in some way, shape, or form.
That's always been gamesmanship to stealing signs.
yeah.
It's the way you go about it.
Yeah, I think it does say in the rule book no electronics.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And that really came
That's good
about
news.
because somebody had an Apple Watch, I think, inadvertently on a bench, right?
yeah, I think that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, someone just had an Apple Watch on
Yeah.
and then realized it was like a big deal.
Actually, now that I think that might have been the Red Sox.
I don't
Because I thought
remember.
the Yankees may have been the ones to claim. I don't remember for sure, but
Yeah. 'Cause historically, obviously, if you got a guy on second base and he can understand the catcher's signs and relays something to the hitter, there's technically nothing illegal about that.
No, that's
Now,
games. That's part of the game. It's like the unwritten. You shouldn't do it,
Right.
but
except
somebody's-
being prepared to
Yeah.
take one to the
Say
ribs the
somebody's
next to bat.
going to catch a fastball to the rib cage, but that's policing the game within the game.
that's just the old school. That's still embedded in the game.
Yeah. And obviously the Astros have gotten rid of their GM coach.
Yeah.
Red Sox have gotten rid of their manager. Mets got rid of Beltran.
Who are both with the Astros when this took place.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think, and obviously the big question is, who do you punish in this situation? I think it's hard because I know they did say there was a lead group of guys who have kind of led it.
Yes.
I think if those guys step up and say, "Yep, it was us," then I think everything is good. But you can't suspend that entire team.
No.
Yeah.
So here's what I heard. I heard that it was really led by Beltran, but the front office knew about it. The program itself was developed by an intern who I read is no longer an intern. He is the senior manager of team ops. He still works for the Astros. Why this guy still has a job after all that is kind of odd. I heard that Cora was the one who implemented or made arrangements for the camera system to be put in, and that Brian McCann actually at one time went to Beltran and said, we need to stop doing this. We're not okay with it. And they said Beltran basically bullied these younger guys into like, I'm the veteran, you're the young guy, you're going to do what I say. And then I also read that they did research, and the person who received the least amount of trash can bangs, Brian McCann.
Yeah.
And to me, and actually I had this discussion today where we were talking about this. Yes, obviously it's an advantage to know an off-speed pitch is coming, but you still have to hit it.
Yep.
Obviously, but like we said, a guy I think about is Cole Hamels with his changeup. Is very unhittable. But if you know that changeup is coming,
Yep.
obviously a changeup isn't one that moves like a slider or curveball, but
But if you know it's not a fastball,
correct. If you know it's dropping 20 miles an hour, it's a big advantage.
Somebody just sued the organization, and he was a former
Pitcher.
From the
This is
Blue
what I
Jays.
heard today. I didn't know this. He
like $31 million.
he had a terrible outing.
Says last outing in the majors. He was sent down.
He
right
got
after.
sent down AAA right after.
Yep.
And so his agent said that, his lawyer basically said, we don't know what could have happened. I mean, what could have happened in his career if that wasn't. And obviously, I think the lawyer even mentioned there's guys like Kershaw that he could basically tell you what pitch was coming. You're still not going to hit it. But then there's some guys that rely on that breaking ball that need it.
Yeah. I mean, Kershaw is a great example of who he got smoked by the Astros, and he performed all year. Then he plays the Astros in the playoffs, and he sucks.
So I think it's the 2017 World Series. I think he made 3 starts. Somewhat making so. I think he made 3 starts and a relief appearance. I think 2 of which were at home in L.A. and 2 of which were in Houston, and the difference in the numbers is just laughable.
Yeah, I did see those stats. Yeah. And there's a guy who's a great example. How much money did that cost him?
Yeah.
The guy, going into contract negotiations, on the surface, they're like, this guy can't perform. And now we're hearing more and more about, the stuff that's going on and what behind the scenes. And it's like, at this point, you hear so much, it's like, how is it not believable?
Yeah, and I think it's hard with Kershaw because he has had trouble in the playoffs. So it's one of those things you might look back on and be like, he just didn't perform in the playoffs.
Right.
But, I mean, you just don't know anymore.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's too difficult at this point to punish all the players that played for the Astros over the past, I think this is understood to be at least 3 seasons, correct? So if we just focused on last season, you look at Garrett Cole, who was on the Astros last year and just signed this mammoth deal with the Yankees.
Yep.
Okay. So now if you were to punish him in any way, shape, or form, suspend him, let's say for a year, the same that they did to the manager and GM, well, now you're actually punishing the New York Yankees. You're not punishing the Houston Astros.
Correct.
By doing that. So I think, I don't have the number in front of me, but the number of players that played for the Astros over the last 3 seasons and are now on a different team, you'd be punishing their current team, not the Astros.
You're absolutely right.
I think that's the main reason why you can't punish the players.
Yeah, and I think the pitchers would argue, why are you punishing us? It was offensive.
That's true, too.
But I feel like you can't, I don't know. I feel like it's
You
hard
knew
to call
about it.
out certain guys.
But
yeah.
if you were on the 2017 team, even if you're a pitcher, you've still got a ring
Correct.
that you maybe don't deserve.
Correct.
Yep.
So
I think what really, I want to say, tipped me over the edge was pitchers and catchers reported, I think, was it today?
it was this week. I think
This
all
week.
teams are different.
So Houston had their press conference, and you want to talk about just, to me, it was just arrogant. Yeah, Carlos Correa, who said, we feel sorry. We just don't want to think about it happening. It was wrong. Yeah, Alex Bregman, who said, I'm really sorry. And Jose Altuve said, the whole organization feels bad. And then the cherry on top of this entire cake was the owner who came out and said, it didn't impact the game, in our opinion. And then somebody in the media asked him a question, said, you're saying it didn't impact the game? He goes, well, I never said it didn't impact the game. It was 55 seconds apart. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you say it doesn't impact the game? Absolutely impacted the game.
Yeah.
And then the jackass goes on, and I'm like, well, it's kind of like a screw you to everybody else. Like, we don't care that you think we cheated. Yeah, we're sorry. We cheated. We don't care. He went on to brag, we're the first team to win 100 games in 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because even Dusty Baker
And why was he at the press conference?
Dusty Baker gave an apology and was like, he had nothing to do with it, but he's sitting up there. And
Poor guy's
has to
sitting up
give-
there. Yeah.
He's got to give an apology.
I saw it too. I'm like, why is Baker up there? He had absolutely nothing to do with this.
So that quote's interesting, basically just saying it didn't impact the game. You're essentially admitting you did it.
Yeah.
But you're saying it didn't impact the game.
Yep.
But if it didn't impact the game, then why'd you do it?
Right. Why'd you need to do it? Why'd you feel the need to do it? You knew about it.
Yeah. Dusty Baker, for me, is an interesting hire. So he was hired after the Astros fired A.J. Hinch, their manager. Dusty Baker is a very old-school manager. He's got to be – oh, nice. Sabres goal.
Olafson from Eichel.
tie game 2-2.
He's counting cornhole points over there again.
No, he can count the 2.
Okay.
But yeah, the Astros known for using analytics and obviously modern technology in ways they shouldn't. But Dusty Baker being this really old school guy, be an interesting fit there. See how he fits in.
Yeah, I don't know. Altuve denied the buzzer thing. I find that far fetched. Like, where do you find that stuff? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think the trash can thing, they've shown videos where you can hear it, and it's obvious. Yeah. As far as the buzzers go, I don't see how you could see the signal, relay it to a buzzer, have them pick that up in the
quick
second,
time, yeah.
1 second that you have. So
I even had people ask me when this first surfaced, when you saw the pictures of Altuve going into the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. Between the dugout and the clubhouse, there was that table with the TV. Someone's like, is that actually real, or is it someone photoshopped that?
Right.
Probably real at this point with everything we know.
Yeah, so the thing with that is the game is very reliant on replays now. So any, bang, bang call at first base, the manager's waiting to hear from somebody on whether he should challenge the play or not. For all we know, every team might have a table set up like that to review potential replays.
Right.
So it's without knowing exactly what that table was used for, I don't think we could definitively say that.
Yeah, they said it was
in the cheating.
It was an algorithm developed. They had spreadsheets that basically would calculate. They had all this data and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to name names again from someone from ESPN because I also can't stand him. And I hate the fact that this is twice now. Someone I really like from ESPN has made a good point. Mm-hmm. But he came out and said, if it took us giving immunity to players. Because like you said, we'll be punishing some other teams.
Yeah.
If it took us giving up immunity to players to learn what actually happened, what's he doing over there?
Well, he was moving, and after the 2 wardrobe changes last episode, I'm waiting for this coat to come off or something. But false alarm. My apologies.
Just fixing my big ears on my head.
He said if it took immunity for us to learn what actually happened, because we deserve that, then that's fine. But do not walk around and call yourself champions.
Right.
He said, I'm not saying the Yankees are the champions. I'm not saying the Dodgers are the champions. But do not walk around as an Astros player and say we won the title and be proud of it in 2017.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, you would have to offer some sort of immunity, but you're right. He's right, I should say. Yeah, if you could learn from it, if you knew exactly what they were doing, it probably is beneficial to the league overall.
Yep. So we'll stay with baseball. I'm not sure how much you guys noticed this the other day. The baseball wants to change your playoff format starting in 2022.
Yeah. This I'll let Adam give his points first. Just noting this, Joel Sherman from the New York Post, I believe he was the first one to break this. An article came out 3 or 4 days ago, and I think that's what really spawned the conversations on that this week. So
we have different numbers, Russ.
We got different numbers. He read a different article.
So I read 7 teams per league.
Uh-huh.
Top team gets a bye.
Yes.
Then the next 2 division winners and the top wild card then get to choose who they want to play for the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which I really like that idea.
It's exactly what I've written down.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. I see
Can't
5 over here.
Read your own notebook, dude.
So I really like the idea. I mean, obviously being a Braves fan, I just think about last year's playoffs. If that's the case, Braves get first choice of who they want to play. And they're probably not picking the Mets just because of the division team, even though they kind of owned them last year. You're not picking the Brewers. You're probably taking the Diamondbacks, who don't have a great pitching staff. And in a 3-game series that you get to host, which I thought was another neat thing. Those 3 teams that got to choose their opponents host all 3 games for a best of 3. Yep. Which I think that gives more play of, hey, I won my division, I get those home games, or I was a top wild card, I get those home games as well.
Is this supposed to be similar to the NFL, depending on who wins? Except they're not picking the team they play, but it's based on who wins. You play the remaining, the higher seed plays the lowest remaining seed.
Not necessarily, I guess.
So that's one thing I didn't read after. So now, after the current structure, after the wild card game, it gets reseeded so that the effective 1 seed plays number 4.
Right.
In this, I didn't see after this chaotic first round if they reseed or not.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that.
I didn't see anything about it, but I would assume like last year, obviously Dodgers would have had the bye. I assume they would have played the winner of like the Nats and whoever they were playing, because the Nats were the top wild card team.
Yes.
Right.
Would have been my guess, but I don't think it ever said like what would happen moving further.
Yeah. So, I don't really like this for a couple reasons. Number one, the Major League Baseball season right now is so long.
Yes.
And this is going to add to the length of that. If these series all went 3 games and all these playoff games happened, I mean, you're talking like a 10 or 11 months out of the year playing baseball, it seems like.
And aren't they talking about shortening the season by like 20 games or something?
Yeah, they've talked about that for
they've talked about it in basketball
years.
too. I don't know how you do it when all your record books are based on.
That's the one reason I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to see guys trying to break single season, totals records.
Because as soon as you do that, anything anybody does, it's an asterisk. Oh, I would have had that. I was on pace, but I didn't play a full season.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
To me, the first thing I thought of when I read this, because they were almost proposing like a TV show on like a Saturday night
to pick
where you've got like the GMs around a table and, all right, we're going to play this team in the playoffs. The first thing I thought of was LeBron's decision show when he left Cleveland to go to Miami.
Taking my talents to South Beach.
And to me, that was like a reality show.
Yes. It's not
it wasn't sport, and I don't really want to see sports get to that point. The other thing is we've seen a couple years recently where there's been a couple teams tied at the end of the year, and we've had to have an extra game to determine like a division winner and whatnot. And if you got 7 teams in the playoffs, you imagine the scenarios where, let's say, 3 of those teams are tied, even if all 3 of them are in like one division, and you might add another 3 or 4 games onto the season before you even get to this structure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because obviously you're bringing 2 extra teams into play here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one thing it does do for possibly fans as well is your team in it longer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're in like the 8 spot, 9 spot, and you're like, in today's day, you're like, I'm done. But in this, hey, I'm only 3 games out of that 7th spot.
Yeah. So I'll let you go here in a second. I definitely don't like it. My proposal, the only thing with the current structure, they have the 1-game wild card play in. To me, baseball has always been series based. I may be stealing your thunder here, but
go on.
So I like the current structure, except instead of making that a 1-game wild card, make it a best of 3 game series.
Right. So I love it. No, let me back up. I don't mind it, but I don't agree with it.
Okay.
But the only part I do agree is I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of expansion. To your point, I hate the 1 game. I'm a Yankees fan, and they almost won the series 2 years ago, winning the wild card game, and I still didn't agree with it.
Right. Yep.
Because to me, it's like they had the second best record in baseball, and you might be done after 162 games. Like we said, the season takes forever. You might be done after 1 game because that's your playoffs. So I think they should go more along the line. If they stick to the current structure, go to 3 games. Mm-hmm. That wild card game should be a 3-game series.
So that's what I find interesting is obviously baseball. Obviously, people complained about that when they did the 1 game, but every other sport, obviously, we're watching hockey, basketball. Nothing is a series during the season, and then everything is a series right from the get-go. Yeah. So it's exact opposite.
Yep.
But they got shorter seasons. They keep track of their season, right?
I mean, length of them are exactly the same, but obviously less games. So
I think I wouldn't mind seeing the expansion. I understand why baseball is trying to do this, and I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole. If you guys get a chance sometime, check out Gary V's podcast he did with Big Cat from Barstool and A-Rod, where he talks about how baseball itself is actually suffocating itself financially because they sold out to some part of Disney, I believe it was. Was it called BAM or Boom?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar. So
they sold to this company, and they literally dictate everything, and they They're not big into social media. They shut down a lot of people's stuff. Like if you post something, there's a good chance that it gets copyrighted or something like that. And Big Cat made a point. He goes, I literally almost got kicked off Twitter because I was posting only videos of like Cubs home runs, and they threatened to kick me off Twitter because they have this weird. They need to get with the times, basically.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing baseball expand. I think if you go to 8 teams, which I still believe is possible. I do not like the pick your.
Yeah.
I just for clarity of people, if you're trying to draw interest to make it less confusing, you just boom, these are 8 teams.
Yeah.
I think you go to an NBA structure, your top 8 teams, or if you go to 7, I think you just go to 8. You go 8 teams, one plays 8, and etc. Just like a normal bracket.
Yeah.
The way to shorten this and not elongate it too long is could we not have 3 days between games?
Yeah.
They have a game. They might play game 2. Even when they're like back, they play 2 games in the same spot. They'll like day in between.
Yeah, if they're in the same city, they shouldn't have an off day. I mean, in baseball, during the regular season, your average team will play during a month. They might have 3 or 4 off days.
Right.
They're used to playing back-to-back
Or
days.
you stick with that idea of, okay, the top seed is going to host all 3 games. We're going to allow 8 teams in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to play 3 out of 4 nights. You're going to have 1 night off.
Yep.
And we're going to play best of 3s. Next series will be best of 5s and best of 7s.
Yep.
I think from a fan standpoint, like Adam said, it keeps more people interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it helps.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should go back. I'm not against expanding the playoffs. I guess the main thing was the whole pick your opponent. I just hate that point,
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know if, to be honest with you think teams actually want to pick their opponent?
I mean, but it puts more pressure on them, right?
Exactly.
If you pick the wrong
When
opponent,
you get beat, who's the laughing stock?
you're the one that picked them,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. To me, it motivates that person who got picked.
Yeah.
I just think you go 1 through 8. NBA's got a pretty good structure. You stop it with these, huge gaps in games. Like it needs to stop. That's what drags the playoffs on too long is the huge gaps.
Well, I think I saw that complaint too. Was people are like, oh, why are you going to let half the league in the playoffs? Every other sport does it.
Everybody else does, yeah.
Of course, I think also a lot of that day off in between, unfortunately, is driven by TV agreements. So
I'm sure it is,
when
yeah.
you get down to just the league championships, you only have 2 games going on. I think the TV schedules force them to have them every other day. So
And they've
they have a
tried
game on TV.
They've tried to, I think, alleviate some of that too with they do day games, right, during the playoffs.
Yeah.
Some of the games start at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or
the-
something like that.
I think during the division series when they have 4 series going on, they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for it. I just think I don't like to pick your team. I don't like to pick your team.
Yeah.
And I would just stop with the big gaps in between, stuff that's going on. Just play the game. Just play it.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
I know that Russ got a chance to watch. I don't know, Adam, I'm sure you've heard about it in the media, but Jon Jones, Dominic Reyes this past weekend.
Yep.
I know you and I had pretty similar thoughts on this. I actually rewatched the fight.
Yeah, that's one thing I have not done. I typically don't go back and rewatch them. I
watched I
probably
actually
should have with this
I
one.
rewatched the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Because live watching it, I thought Jones won the second round. So here's my final take on it because I'm tired of people asking me about it because they know I'm a Jones fan.
Yep.
John, if the judges would have said John lost that fight, I would have agreed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't disagree with them saying John won the fight
Yep.
because, in the words of Dana White, don't leave it into the judges' hands if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Did I just steal your thunder?
Not my thunder. I do have that written down because he is known for saying that.
Yeah, don't leave it in the hands of the judges.
And my opinion is, if you want to beat the champ, you got to beat him.
the champ.
Yeah.
You can't just don't leave it up to judges.
Right.
If you want to take the title, you beat him.
The fact that there was even a toss-up going into 4 and 5, and then John's clearly won 4 and 5.
Yes.
There was no question there. That alone, I mean, it's going to win you the fight.
Yeah.
So I listened to Rogan a little bit, and he said if this was a fight till your death, like you know who was winning that if that kept going. Jones was obviously the stronger guy
Reyes,
at the end.
Reyes was gassed in rounds
But
4 and 5.
so let me ask you: do you think it was obviously probably not the one judge went 4-1?
That was ridiculous.
And
obviously we saw there was all night kind of the judges were
Yes.
all over the
there
board.
was some controversy in earlier fights. The one thing, so I actually saw somebody took a picture of the judges' cards.
Scorecards.
So one interesting thing there. So as you just mentioned, Joe Solis is the judge that had a 49-46 for Jones. Chris Lee and Marcos Rosales both had it 48-47. But Lee and Rosales, actually all three judges, I should say, gave Reyes round 1, gave Jones round 4 and 5. Okay? Lee and Rosales, that both had it 48-47, flip-flopped who gave Jones round 2. One of them gave Jones round 2. One of them gave Jones round 3.
Really?
So even they, coming up with the same final score, didn't agree on which round he won
So,
between
yeah,
2
it's
and
close.
3.
Because that's what, obviously I didn't watch it, but that's what I heard. I heard Reyes 1 and 2, Jones 4 and 5, and round 3 was the toss-up one.
Yeah. So I think I agree with the judges. Reyes clearly won round 1. Jones definitely won 4 and 5. And Reyes pretty much admitted he lost 4 and 5 during the post-fight interview.
And
I think, unfortunately, 2 and 3 were so close that they're a coin flip. So it's
And
hard
if you
to
go
really
into 4 and
argue either
5, you better fight.
Yeah.
so do you think, because obviously the Lewis fight brings this into play too, do you think that there's more emphasis on later rounds on the judges? Hey,
They call them championship rounds for a reason.
right, and so
If
that's
it's a
why I bring
5-round
up the
fight.
Lewis one, because obviously a lot of people said Lewis shouldn't have won that fight.
Lewis lost that
But
fight.
I think I heard that in the last minute of the third round, like Lewis went crazy. And
Not
was
enough to
pound-
win the fight.
But that
He won that
they
fight
wonder
because
if
he's from
that
Houston.
well, and they wonder if because he went crazy in that last minute, did that throw him over the edge to win that?
Right. So that kind of brings up, I guess, a question or an assumption on my base that I assume when round 1 is over, the judges score round 1 and write it down, right?
I think so. And that's been the talk this week is fighting's the only sport that they can think of that after each round, you don't have any idea where you're at.
Right,
You
right.
play a basketball game, you know where you're at after the first
Yeah.
quarter. Same with football. Same with baseball. After each inning, you know where you're at, and you don't with fighting.
Because if it's not like that, and you could just watch the whole fight and then go back and score the rounds, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I assume they scored after each round.
As I'm saying that, though, I'm realizing the picture I saw, rounds 1 and 2 were computer printed, and then 3 through 5 were handwritten, almost like they had taken their scorecards after 2, entered them somewhere, and gave them back a new card with their computer.
That's
print.
possible, too.
So,
Yeah, I don't. It probably depends on the athletic commission, honestly, what their rules are, because
Yeah,
it varies
yeah.
from state to state. I will say this: I gave Reyes a lot of shit and said this guy's got no chance. But I'll tell you what, for the credentials on the surface, the guy was 200% better than I thought he was going to be. I'll give him that credit. He did exactly what the last two guys said they were going to do and didn't do, and he said he was going to do, and he did. He came out and he got in John's face. I will give him that.
yeah.
I looked at. Here's the one thing that does. To me, it's at the end of the day, it's a fight. But sometimes I think we get, especially the casual fight watchers, they will get caught up in the stat of significant strikes and total strikes.
Yeah.
And I did look up the strikes, and yeah, it was John had 2 takedowns. He controlled the octagon. There's other factors in there.
Yep.
And then I did notice in the second round that it was a toss-up. We all know the judging was shit all night.
Mm-hmm.
Did some judge think that Reyes outstruck John by that many more points? He had a flurry in the second round where he didn't land a punch. John literally dodged every strike.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I don't know that either. There's a lot of factors there.
Yeah.
So
I think definitely round 2 and possibly 3, where Reyes outstruck Jones technically, even though it was only by like 10 strikes,
yes,
because there's only strikes landed was only a difference of 12 for the total fight. Yeah, but even while he was out striking him, he did a lot of that while he was backpedaling, and I think a lot of judges see
and is that
a fighter
significant?
backing up and not pushing forward with the pace, and does that go into their decision more than
Ring,
strikes?
there's a difference between being a counterpuncher and having ring control.
Yeah.
So let me ask both of you this, because obviously you guys watch UFC a lot more with Jones. When I was watching Rogan with Evans, he was on. They thought that if you watch Jones's early fights compared to now, he's thinking way too much instead of reacting, which
Yes.
is what he was doing early in his career.
Looked like he was afraid to pull the trigger.
Yeah. I think we kind of alluded to this on the last episode, but yeah, Jones has not really looked that good his last couple fights.
Smith, he looked okay, but he was
Yeah.
pulled the trigger.
Santos was Santos basically blew his knee out like round one, and Jones didn't take advantage
Didn't take
of
him
it
down.
at
It's
all.
it's almost like a mental thing. It's not a physical thing.
Yeah.
Because if John were to get over that mental block and just cut loose,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary. And to Adam's point, if you want to beat the champ, you got to go beat the champ decisively. And I watched a lot of UFC fights. I can tell you of 2 fights where I've seen that I remember that was like, yeah, that was for sure you beat the champ. Max Holloway lost his belt, Volkanovski.
Mhm.
It looked like Max probably lost that fight.
Yep.
And the one that really sticks to me is Cody Garbrandt just beating Dominic Cruz's ass.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a title fight, and he came out.
That was
He could have finished that fight. He was way too much fun in there,
Yeah.
and he beat Dom's ass.
Yeah.
But then back to my point with the strikes, we get too caught up in that stat. I'll give you some stats here. I looked up this fight. You and I watched this fight. One fighter had 473 total strikes thrown, landed 208. 181 of them were significant. Fighter B had 383 strikes, landed 180, 178 were significant. Fighter B won that fight. And if you watch the fight, he absolutely won the fight. Do you know what fight I'm talking about?
I do not.
Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. Poirier absolutely won that
Yep.
fight.
Yes.
And even though Max threw more volume,
Yeah.
how much of it was significant? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you watch that, I don't care. You can look at the stats all you want. If you watch that fight, Max got his ass kicked.
I mean, if you take 3 jabs to the chin, and then you counter that with one big uppercut that rocks a guy, technically you just got outstruck 3-1.
Yeah.
But you probably did more damage there.
There was no question that Poirier won that fight.
Yeah.
But of course, you read social media and it's like, oh, he had more strikes. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't get a point for each strike, by the way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know we're all Jones fans, so we're definitely a little biased here. But like I said, I think Jones won rounds 4 and 5. Reyes won round 1, 2 and 3. If you really watch that in an unbiased fashion, you could have given either of those rounds either way. In this case, the judges just happened to go in Jones' favor. Like you said, I think the decision going to Jones, I'm okay with that. Had the decision been 3-2 Reyes, I would have totally understood that also.
Yep.
So,
But again, it was obviously closer than I thought. I mean,
yeah.
so you go to 4 and 5 championship rounds.
Shout out to Derek Lewis again with his post interview there.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you taking your pants off again?
No,
Please
keeping
don't.
him on this time.
Thank God. So, to me, we talked about this after this fight. You know, episode 2, we talked about, we kind of got ahead of ourselves with what happens next with Jones.
We did.
But
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up.
To me, Reyes looked good enough that, in my opinion, he should get an immediate rematch.
I agree.
So,
I think you should run it back. And Reyes did an interview with Ariel Helwani and said that in the ring, John said to him, our rematch is going to be epic.
yeah, I saw that video, actually. There was somebody had a camera close to them when they were in the ring talking to each other. Yeah, he did say that. So, I'm
And I think
guessing-
he deserves it.
Yeah, so
I don't even care what happens with Corey Anderson. Just,
no.
you don't deserve a fight yet, Corey Anderson. Go, if you beat Jan Blachowicz,
Yep.
go win another fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought he was going to go out, put this one away, and it's like, what's next? Do I just go to heavyweight?
Right.
But, yeah, I think you both heal up and run it back. Run it back in July in Vegas.
I like that.
That's what I want to see.
I don't think either of them would be opposed to that.
The only problem with that is you got Usman and Masvidal who are going to want to be the main event. You're going to want to
Yeah.
see,
I don't.
I don't know.
What?
I think
Co-main event.
I think Masvidal's humble enough
He'll fight
that
anybody.
if he's on the same card as Jones, he's got no
You
problem.
already tried to fight Usman at the Super Bowl, so.
Yeah, he's got no problem not being the last guy.
Which,
out.
by the way, today they announced, I think I might have an inkling of when Connor's fighting again. Breaking news. They announced UFC Dublin in August.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Why would you think that?
I have no idea. But anyway, moving on. We got a boogity this weekend, boys. We got the Daytona 500.
Vroom vroom.
Yeah, and none of us are NASCAR fans. So I came up with this little thing. I checked with you guys before just to keep it interesting because obviously it's a topic. It's the biggest race of the year.
It is.
I can honestly say in my life, I don't think I've ever sat down and watched an entire Entire NASCAR race.
Yeah.
I've never even been to the local race where we have here in Watkins. Not once.
I could just go drive around your block a few times if you want to watch.
No. Not in that tracksuit.
No. I do want to see that.
He could do it at night too because we still see him. So I threw some names in a hat.
Okay.
Throwing her $20.
Ricky Bobby in there?
No.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
So
$20.
Oh, shoot.
you guys want to, you don't have to do it now, but
My wallet's up there.
My wallet's over there.
we'll get it after.
Okay.
So
We're not paying Kyle.
are you guys, do you want to do 2 drivers or 3 drivers?
How many names you got in there?
I think I took the top half of the field based on Vegas.
Ricky Steinhaus.
So here is
He's in
the.
there.
I don't watch much NASCAR. I've watched a little bit of the last couple Daytona 500s. The one thing about the Daytona 500 that separates it from other races is that about half the cars that start are going to
Wreck.
be taken off on a tow truck.
Right.
Dude, that's what happened to me. Me and my buddies, we did one of these
You ran
last
the
year
Daytona
before.
500?
It was your average finish of all your drivers. I had 4 guys of my 8 out of the race for wrecks.
So how about this?
But my other 4 finished top 15 and I lost.
We'll do 4. And if none of our drivers finish the race, we just drink it.
Okay.
I'm in.
You in?
All right.
All right.
Pink Whitney's.
Whatever you want, man.
Oh, is that what we're drinking, Russ?
Not we. We're not sharing this one.
Well,
He's got his own. If you showed up on time, you could get your own Pink Whitney's.
valid.
All right. I'll even let you guys draw. You want to do? Let's do 4 drivers.
All right.
All right. Let's do 4. All right. You take one, pass it down. We'll go one. Once here.
All right. Here you go.
All right.
I'm not gonna even read it
don't-
off.
Don't look at it yet. I'm watching the Sabres game while pulling. We got 2
Drinking
game.
E-Boost. Shout out to E-Boost for the samples they sent me. All 7 cases.
E-Boost, huh? Oh, I got no idea what that is.
I sent all of them back.
Is that ecstasy?
No.
Oh, all right.
No. Wow, I don't know.
All right. What do you got down there?
Oh, we're reading. Okay, read the first one.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead there.
Clint Boyer.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Clint Boyle.
Should I write this down?
Yeah,
Well, we
I'll
should write him down.
Well, we can write them down after.
All right.
All righty. Oh, Sabres scored.
Evan Rodriguez.
Got a 3-2 game. 4 minutes and 26 seconds left.
Kivelnicks did not save the puck.
Kivelnicks.
Kibbles and Deads.
All right. We're not going to end this podcast till he pronounces that goalie's name correctly.
Okay.
We're going to be here a while. Because I don't think Kivelnicks or whatever you just said is a.
We're going to be here a while.
All right. Who do you got for your first driver?
I have got Christopher Bell, who is somebody I have no idea.
Never heard of him.
Is that the guy from Winnie the Pooh?
I also don't know
It's
that.
Christopher Robin. I have Ryan Newman.
Oh, that's a decent one.
Does he have a dressing? Oh, that's Ken.
You thinking of Newman's Own? We're doing really good without the dad jokes.
We're going off the rails here.
Yeah, we are. All right, what do you got down there? Driver 2. Snag it and pass it.
All right. All right. I'll let you go first.
Yeah,
this time.
Kyle Busch.
Oh, that's a good one. Either Bush brothers are good.
Is he the one that gets in all the fights?
Apparently, I know more about this than I'm leading on.
Yeah.
You do. I'm like,
You do have quite a few bets on some Daytona 500
That is true.
drivers.
That is true. I've got Daniel Suarez, who I believe is somebody I have $5 bet on.
Oh.
So I'm okay with that. Only because the odds were really good. I don't think he's a fake.
I got a 6-7 time winner. I don't know how many times he's won the entire thing. Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, okay.
that's a good one.
He's getting up there in age, though. That's like pulling.
Yeah,
Phil.
but you're just driving a car. You're not running.
Hey. No, there's no Ricky Bobby here. We're not running.
Driver 3.
Driver 3. All right, I'll go first this time.
Yeah.
I've got Martin Truex Jr.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, I'll take
Ooh.
that one. I'm good with that one. Adam, who you got?
Kurt Busch.
Oh, that's a good one. That's better than Kyle Busch. This is rigged.
How do you know this?
How
much NASCAR
I've watched
have you
a little
actually-
bit of NASCAR. I'll
Okay.
say that.
Russ has been to the races.
I actually sold tickets one summer at our local track.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think I was like,
How much did you make?
I don't know, not much.
It's kind of a personal
I
question.
think I was like 15, and they paid me like $2 an hour.
I got William Bryan.
That's right up there with Christopher Bell. I don't know who that is.
Are we sure that's not one of the
Oh,
like
it's William Byron.
Byron?
Yeah,
Are you sure he's not like one of the guys that like puts gas in the car in the pits?
he might be.
Okay.
But hey, if the driver gets sick and he drives,
Russ picks first.
I pick first.
There's
Here we
one.
go.
There's one name I'm hoping is in here.
There's one name I'm hoping I get.
Oh, I hope it's the same one I'm liking.
You were just hoping it's in there, though. That could be any name.
Well, that's true. I don't even know if it's in there.
What's
I
the
don't even know if it's in there.
What's the French driver that is Ricky Bobby's nemesis? And what the hell's that movie? The movie's slipped my name.
I don't.
Talladega Nights.
Yeah, I don't remember names very well. So
All right.
All right, who do you got, Russ?
Who do I got? I got Denny Hamlin. That's another good name. It's not who I was hoping for, though.
Russ just calls these good names. I don't know what that means. I got a good name, Joey Logano. I don't know if that's good or not, but
He was actually the Vegas favorite.
Yeah,
Ooh.
That's a good one.
but he's not the pole favorite.
I got Brad Keselowski.
That's
Oh,
also,
that's my Polish brother.
that's also a good one.
It
He'll buy
is.
it off you for $10.
It's old.
I don't know if he will. He doesn't have his wallet on him, though.
All right. Well, may the best man win. If not, may we all get drunk.
So we're doing whoever
Highest finish.
highest finish out of all the drivers
Correct.
wins it.
Yep.
That makes it easy.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I'm
I
kind of
like it.
hoping all of our drivers don't finish.
Yeah, then Wednesday night cornhole. Lots of Coors lattes.
I'm in. You boys got anything else? Want to share with the crowd?
Got the Genesis Invitational going on right now.
Yes. Who do you guys have? First round went out. Kuchar's your leader at 7 under.
Kuchar's leading by 3 at the moment.
Kuchar's firing.
I've got a feeling Rory is going to catch fire this season, and I think it could start this week.
Little 3 under today from
It's
Rory.
3 under right now. Yeah.
Rory was my pick.
Oh, okay.
Power, driving distance is huge there, and
Yeah.
accuracy.
Which,
So
we got a tie hockey game. 3-3 minute left.
Here's my pick.
73 seconds.
Tiger makes 83 this week.
Ooh.
He goes out tomorrow morning. You got fresh greens in California where the greens get bumpy in the afternoon.
They were really getting bumpy this afternoon.
He played well in the front 9, and then he didn't play so well in the back 9. So I'm going to go on that big sturdy stick and say Tiger wins number 83 this week.
Interesting. That would be the all-time wins lead.
What?
BDE.
Was his
Big Dick Eldrick.
first ever PGA event was there. Did you know
16 years old.
that? Yep. It was the Nissan Los Angeles Open back then, not the Genesis Invitational.
Do you know who else played in a PGA Tour event at the age of 16?
Wasn't this guy over here.
No, it was not that guy next to you.
I don't think it was any of us at this table.
It was Jordan Spieth. He played in Dallas,
Yes, he did. Yep.
and he made the cut. He shot like 62 or 61 at the tournament.
Yep.
As long as JB Holmes is in the final group this year, I'll be happy.
Yeah. That final round takes forever.
I don't need an 8-hour final round.
All right, so we got a Tiger and 2 Rorys.
Tiger and 2 Roars.
I had Rom's name written down also, kind of like you said, the distance thing.
Not a huge Rom fan.
I actually hate Rom, but I could see him
Kyle
doing
loves
well this
Rom.
I
weekend.
can't stand the
Geezy,
fact.
that's for you.
I can't stand the fact they make you sound like Rom's like a top 2 player in the world. The guy's not a top 2 player in the world.
No.
He might be a top 15 player in the world.
Yeah.
But if we were ranking players by their maturity on the course, just course knowledge, the guy might be. He's outside the top 200.
We'd be above him.
Yeah. 100%. So, all right, that's all I have, boys.
Yeah, that's
Good
all I got.
episode.
Yeah.
Same
Mom.
bad time, same bad channel next week sometime. Maybe Adam can show up a little sooner.
It'll be 9:15 next week, probably.
All right.
At least, hey, this isn't going to publish at 9:15.
I'm cutting that out.
right?